Thanks for tuning in. This is Mortgages and More with Brian Canasser. Today we've got John Richards here with Housemaster. He is a home inspector. Actually, he's an inspector of many different things. I've actually worked with John for several years. I've used his services personally on a few homes. And we want to come today to try and help shed some light on, what he does, why it's important, and why you would want to reach out to someone like John whenever you're thinking about buying a home. So, John, thanks for coming today. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So, tell us a little bit about your experience. What's your life plan, and then what got you into home inspecting and with Housemaster?
Let's see. I don't want to go back too far because I've done a lot of dumb things. But for 16 years, I worked in the oil field as a directional driller.
Okay.
And so that's up and down, up and down.
Yep. Feast or famine.
That's right. And the job I did, it was very detail oriented. So 2019, last downturn happened, and I just didn't feel like going back.
Yeah.
And I found a franchise that I thought would be interesting to buy, and it's a home inspection franchise.
And home inspections are very detail oriented.
They are detail oriented. It gives me something to do, some roofs to climb on, and a business to run, and it piqued my interest, and I learned how to do it and hopped in.
Awesome. Well, and I know with my personal experience, like one of my longest realtor partners that I've ever worked with, and I use for the vast majority of everything that I've ever done real estate wise. She's a very strong proponent of yours now, also, which makes me really happy. But one of the things that I really appreciated, and I wanted to bring this out, is a home inspection is a very detailed process, and there's a lot of data that comes to a potential home buyer. And one of the things that I really appreciated about my time, my working with you, that I really haven't had in my wife and I, we bought 11 homes in 35 years of marriage. So the last two that you did inspections for us on, you gave me the full workbook of the inspection. And then you called me and said, let's go through it, because this is I wrote it all up the way it is, but this is important. And this is not necessarily important. I just wanted you to know about it. These really matter, and these are just informational. So talk to me. I mean, your bedside manner, like I was talking to you a while ago about having a great doctor. You can have two doctors come in that have all the knowledge in the world, but if they don't explain to you why they're doing what they do, then you're left with more questions. And then you can have that one doctor that comes in and is really at ease with in his own skin and explains everything. So that's what you do, right? So talk to me about your process in that.
So for Texas, we have a long list of what they call defects.
Defects?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's everything from a missing doorstop to a cracked foundation.
Okay.
And everything in between. So some things are more important for monetary, because some things are more expensive. And then there's safety issues.
Okay.
So those are the two things that I make sure that I point out, and we'll discuss anything else anybody wants to talk about.
HVAC included in that?
HVAC, roofs, and foundations are expensive.
Okay.
So we focus on that. We do the whole inspection, but we point out the expensive items and the safety items.
Okay. So what would a standard inspection, if no extras are requested, what would be included in a standard inspection for you?
So for me, my standard inspection includes the home inspection.
Okay.
The lawn sprinkler system.
Okay.
And I have started including thermography, which is thermal imaging camera.
Okay. So what's that for?
So with that, it's going to detect thermal anomalies.
Okay.
Because it detects a difference in temperature. Okay. So it can discover hidden moisture damage or hidden moisture leaks. It can discover issues in an electrical box if wires are heating up too much.
Okay.
Which safety issues.
So you might have a breaker that's not working correctly.
You might have a loose wire.
Okay.
And whenever that wire's loose, this can heat up.
And that's throughout the entire house, not just the the box, like I was saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So things like that. And I think it's a good enhancement for the homeowner.
Okay. So, both of the homes that you've done for me, the most recent ones, they've had pools, and I know the first house you did inspections for us that we ended up not buying, that there was like major issues within the water feature. So, how are you able to find that?
So when we do the inspection, we run the equipment.
Okay.
It's like we're trying to make something happen.
Okay.
We run as much water, we run all the electricity, just searching for any little thing so that the homeowner knows what they're getting.
Okay.
So,
Also, kind of like in the loan business, um, we don't ever want to say no, but if we're going to say, if we're going to end up having to say no, we want to do it early in the game rather than late in the game. That way we can form a game plan, but nobody wants to find out that no 4 days before closing. So let's kind of like us, we run all the traps to make sure that we can say yes. And when we say yes, we back it up. So that's kind of what you're doing as well. You're trying to find anything that needs to be found on behalf of the potential home buyer.
exactly.
Okay.
We want them to make an informed, confident decision
Right.
about what they're getting.
Okay. So, also on the first house you inspected for us had a septic system.
Yes.
And so, yeah, if I understand correctly, you have a new certification coming in March, right?
Yes. When I did yours, I had a buddy of mine that I work with that did that for me.
Okay.
I'm getting my own certification in March so that I can be even more of a one-stop shop.
Awesome.
I do septics, I do pools, I do wood destroying insect inspections.
Mm-hmm. So you did that for us on both houses.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
So,
And so the mortgage business doesn't require inspections on homes. We require pest inspections on a VA home. We require like septic inspections on a USDA or a rural VA type property. But so we kind of talked about it. But why would a first time home buyer? What do they need to know about why they would want a home inspection?
first time home buyers, especially, they need to know what's going on in their home. We're also going to explain how to take better care of their home.
Okay.
So, remember to change out those filters in that HVAC system.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make it run longer. Remember to water your lawn so that your foundation stays well watered.
That's a good point.
So it does not crack and have issues.
And that's a big deal here in Texas. I mean, like foundations, they're the lawns get wet and then they get really dry during the summer, and that the soil expands and then it contracts. And if you're not consistent about keeping that foundation in good health, I mean, it can cost you a lot of money.
And it is expensive.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And exactly. And they don't necessarily always provide financing plans for those types of things.
No. And if you can keep your foundation from ever having to be adjusted, it just works best that way.
Yeah.
Because once you start adjusting it here, you might have to adjust it there.
So what if somebody's building a house, brand spanking new, ground up? Would they need an inspection on that?
Well, human beings are building it, and we are not perfect.
Yeah.
So we do inspections for new builds. So it's called phased inspections. So the first phase is before they pour the foundation.
Okay, phase inspection. I want to make sure I take note of that myself.
Yes. So the first phase is called the pre-pour foundation inspection. And that you look and make sure they have everything set up, everything cleaned out and ready to go before they pour the concrete. So you want the base of your home to be good to go.
Okay.
The second phase is the pre-drywall inspection.
Okay, so we got the framing up.
They got the framing up. They have
roofs on.
They have the duct work in. The roof is on.
The electrical been run.
They got a lot of electrical wires run, a lot of plumbing run. So you want to make sure that all that electrical wire, that plumbing's protected, that they block off where they're supposed to so that it's fire blocking in areas that they've run ducting well.
Mm-hmm.
You can just see a lot there.
Yeah. Well, you talk about that. It's been a long time ago, but my mom and dad, they were having a house built over in Dallas. They ended up not buying this house. But one time they walked in and it was in the framing phase, and we could look down this one wall, and the wall had an indentation in it, and it's wood. I mean, I know wood can be warped, but if you're building a house, I mean, you want it to be straight. You don't want to have that indenture in there. So my dad actually just reached over there and actually broke that board so they'd have to redo it again, and then told the builder what he had done and why. Right. Well, that's the kind of stuff that you'd see and you'd point out even in one of the phase inspections.
Yes.
Right.
Type things we're looking for.
Well, and as I'd mentioned to you a little earlier, I've even heard of a new home build at one particular point in time where the house was done, and less than a week before closing, the inspector had come in and done their overall check, and somehow a brick was in the sewer line between the house and the street, the main piping, and so the front yard had to be dug up. I mean, the piping had to be completely redone.
Yep.
And had that inspection not happened, even on a brand new built home by a wonderful home builder that rarely makes those types of mistakes, it still happened. But had that not had, if somebody just bought it and trusted and not had an inspection done, that could have been very, very costly down the road.
Yes. And that is the final inspection of the phases, the pre-closing inspection.
Mm-hmm.
One thing people don't realize is the construction manager is there looking at things a lot, but he's no longer allowed to get on a roof. So you have to trust contractors, and there's find a lot of stuff on roofs.
I bet you would.
Yes.
Heck, for that matter, it could be damage prevention. The flashing's not laid correctly underneath the or over the shingles, however it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a question for you about roofs, though. As an inspector, do you have a specific, pecking order or ranking for the types of roofs that you think are best?
No, but sometimes I'll get on a roof and you'll just find shingles that are thinner than other shingles in your...
Okay. Metal, ceramic tile, any of those metals?
As long as they're in good condition.
Okay.
And you have to take care of your roof.
Roger that. So when we're talking about getting into the final stages of a home inspection, and I say this, it's almost a part of every client consultation that I have, is I liken it to having a car, looked over by your favorite mechanic. If you're buying a pre-owned, and it's not going to have like a warranty come along with it, you want to make sure you're not getting a lemon.
Yes.
Right. So that's where you come in to make sure it gives us as home buyers peace of mind to make sure that the house that we're buying, we know the ins and the outs of it. Right. It's not going to be, and if there's a lemon, you want to know about it up front. Right. So, realtor partner of mine, we're working with some clients right now. Then they were under contract on another house, and the sellers had agreed to an engineer's report, as a part of the initial negotiations, not expecting to find any issues. Lo and behold, that engineer's report came back, showed that the foundation was tilting from one side of the house to the other by about 3 inches. It needed, the piers that had already been done for foundation in the past needed reinforcement, needs some others. So again, that's the type of stuff that, you can bring to light and make sure that there's light shed on it, to keep us from getting caught as home buyers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like I'm test driving the car for you.
Yeah. The in-town homes are all pretty standard. Obviously, you lot and block, but is there anything specific about maybe rural inspections that you found unique?
Just there's septic a lot of times.
Okay.
And it's important to get that septic system inspected, even if they've had regular maintenance. Those people, lots of times they just come clean them out. They might not be checking it out like we do when we inspect.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with all the counties, but I've lived in Denton County and had a septic system, and we had to have it recertified every year. Like we had to have it come out and inspected every year. Denton County made us have that certification. So, do you know if that's something that happens in a lot of counties?
That I do not know.
Okay, well, and the same area that I was in, one of my neighbors, ended up having an issue with his, and I think it was like $16,000 to have his septic system redone. So it's not cheap. So you need to know about that stuff up front.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you, any type of water features? Do you guys take a look at that? Like if there's a fountain in a pond or in a pool, or obviously in a pool, but do y'all look at those?
Yeah, I've run across a few ponds that had some water features, and
Okay.
I like to get them running
No,
if I can figure it out.
barns, out outbuildings.
Outbuildings,
Is, I mean,
definitely look at them if they're, especially if they have electricity.
mhm. And water maybe.
Yeah. So
Okay.
anything, we look at it, and we're going to look at a barn just like we look at a house.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make sure the wood's looking good, the foundation's good,
Okay.
things like that.
Awesome. So, have you had any unique, weird, crazy, just memorable, things you found in a home inspection?
I mean, there's always things I shake my head at, and it usually has to do with electricity,
Okay.
which I don't like electricity because it hurts.
Yes.
And some of the things I see people do, I'm like, that's gonna hurt.
Duct tape.
That tape, an electrical outlet just hanging in the middle of their garage from the ceiling.
Pull the old Clark Griswold and have 17 different cords packed in on top of each
Yeah.
other in the same outlet.
Yeah, that people do things.
Yep. Talking about electrical, in a home inspection, if somebody's going to have a separate freezer or a separate refrigerator out in the garage or something like that, would you recommend having a separate plug specifically for that? And should it be GFCI or?
So nowadays, in current builds, everything's GFCI protected. That's
Okay.
in the garage, outside, washer, dryer, dishwasher, garbage disposal, they're all protected. So just, you can plug your refrigerator or your freezer in outside, and you should be good to go.
What's your opinion of whole house surge protectors?
I think I like them.
Do you?
Yeah, they're all in all the new builds.
I say the house I've got now is 12 years old, but that's the first one I've ever had that's got a whole house surge protector.
I wish I had one on my house because I ruined
and it's not
a power recliner.
It's not obtrusive at all. Like it's built back into the wall, and next thing you know, you're not going out whatever everybody else does.
Yeah, it's right there. Protect your stuff.
What about generators? Do you like generators?
Yeah, they're much better than a pool.
Do you most of the time see them fully integrated and installed, or do you see independent generators that have been integrated into the box?
Most of the time I see them, they're fully integrated and installed, and I really like that, especially when they're hooked up to the gas line.
Yeah.
Power them, and when your electricity goes out, that thing's kicking on.
Right.
I think it's a good investment.
Okay. And do you have an idea what those things cost new?
I think the generators themselves, don't quote me, around $10,000.
Okay.
And then another chunk of money to get them installed.
Right. I know, obviously we're dealing with a cold snap right now, and I was driving in this morning, it was like 18 degrees, but we haven't been out of power. But, a couple of years ago, we had that really, we're out for, well, I say we weren't, me and my wife and our house weren't, but a lot of our town that we were living in was out for almost 3 days.
Yeah.
And there's like your single digits or sub-zero, and, our pond was frozen over, but the pool wasn't. It's kind of crazy because we were on a grid with the fire department, from what I understand. So our house, really, we were down 20 minutes early on, and then never again. We were on the entire time. So
you were one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, we were very, very fortunate. But during those times, a generator would have made a lot of difference for those that didn't have the power, access that we did. So that's something that I've thought I found interest in and found value that might be there. I don't currently have one, but I've been thinking about it.
You can get one.
Yeah.
And find somebody to install it proper.
So when you're not home inspecting, what do you do?
I'm either playing golf or playing music, or playing the worship band at church.
I remember you telling me about that. So what instruments do you play?
I sing and play guitar.
Okay, very cool.
In my early life, I was a musician.
Okay.
For 12 years or something.
Cool.
So.
Did you travel a lot?
So it was the 80s.
Yeah.
We had a school bus, and we would play a week in this town, travel to another town, play another week.
Okay.
So it was fun.
And I guess beyond the 80s.
Money.
Yeah, in the 80s, you might not have had to have a whole lot of money to be able to do that, but
no,
that was a good time to do it because I'm 54, almost 55. How old are you?
60, almost 61.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have guessed we were really close to the same age, or you were younger than me, man.
I wish.
Awesome. So, talk to us about how somebody can get in touch with you. Like, do you have a website?
I do have a website.
What is that?
It is housemaster.com
Okay.
/Denton.
Denton.
Yeah, that would get me.
So housemaster.com
Yeah.
/Denton.
Phone number is 972
Okay.
800 7410.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah,
800 7410.
I can remember that one, so it's got to be easy. So
Awesome.
and I answer my phone.
Yep.
And
I know you do.
for my clients that have used me, they're always allowed to call me, even 2 years down the road.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I got this question.
Well, that's my view of service as well. I mean,
Yeah,
because you want to be their go-to person.
exactly.
So even if it's just a quick maintenance Q&A, then the next time they're buying a house, they're going to be calling John to do that inspection for them.
Yes.
So that's excellent customer service. I believe in that myself. I tell our clients here, no matter what, even though we've just closed and you're funded, I'm not gone. Text, email, call. That's what I'm here for. Any question you've got.
Exactly.
And I actually get clients texting me pictures of that, spam mail they get right after they buy the house about homestead exemptions and something from the county. And I'm like, no, don't ever tell the county what you paid for your house, because that's what you're going to pay taxes on. So, but I want to be that source of information for those clients.
Yes. I
Cool.
feel exactly the same way.
Do you have a specific area like that you wouldn't want to go outside of? Like, the reason I'm asking is because we've got a client we're serving right now in the Marble Falls area. Obviously, you probably wouldn't go to Marble Falls, right?
That's Oklahoma.
Right? No, is it Marble Falls?
Yeah, right. Not the town.
Yeah, Segovia is what I'm talking about. Area. Yeah, down in that area. So what's your general geographical area?
So last Thursday, I was at Lake Tawakoni.
What's that?
I was at Lake Tawakoni last
Where's that?
Thursday. Somewhere east of Greenville.
Okay.
Close to Tyler.
Okay.
So I go. I've gone to Sherman, Gainesville.
Heck, that's starting to become the DFW area.
Yeah.
Sherman.
So I go, I'll drive an hour and a half.
Okay, cool. So basically, if you're in North Texas and you're looking to buy a house and you get one under contract and you want to do an inspection, you need to call John.
That's right.
And he will go take a look at it, make sure you're taken care of, make sure you're covered, make sure you know what you need to know about the house that you may be looking to buy. But I personally endorse John. One of my closest real estate friends that I've known for over 20 years, she uses John exclusively, and I've referred John to several other clients as well. So don't buy a house without an inspection, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, call John with Housemaster, and he will get you taken care of.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you dropping in today, and we'll get this put together and then make sure that we can tell everybody we can get our hands on about you and your services.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thanks for watching.